Hello everyone, I'm Sandrine. I'm an autism mom. I have 5-year-old Sankara who was diagnosed with autism at age 3. This video is about presenting to you a tip which I actually stumbled on and which has been quite helpful for my autistic son and which I'm hoping will be helpful for you as well. Now, this video will divide it into sections. So we'll first of all talk about an overview of what's CLOVE, and then we'll look at how did I get to use it on my son, and then how does his autism present itself, and what symptom did this plant actually curb, and then we'll look at how to prepare this plant extract and how to give it to an autistic child. So now straight away when I observed that this plant was improving the sleep pattern of my son, I was actually surprised, and I decided to do more research on the plant, and I found out that it's a plant which is so rich in nutrients. It has over 10 different vitamins like vitamin K, vitamin C, vitamin E, it has niacin, it has riboflavins, it has minerals like zinc, copper, iron, it has phosphorus, it has magnesium, it has manganese, it has electrolytes like sodium, potassium, just not to name it all. And so I found out that many plants have actually been used for thousands of years down history to treat many different health conditions, and that many drugs that we take today are actually plant-based. And so I naturally share this information with people that I found that were in a similar situation like myself. So I shared it with parents at the speech therapy center who also have autistic children, and then about 4 of them decided to give a try with this plant, and they effectively gave the plants to their children, and they came back to me with the same observation, saying that their kids sleep better, their kids now sleep all through the night, and their homes are calmer. And so this is not only my observation, it is also the observation of 4 different parents, and it is my honest wish that this will also be helpful for you. Now, as a disclaimer, this is no cure for autism. My son still goes through his speech therapy and whatever therapy is necessary for him. Now, I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not a herbalist. Now, this plant, my son has been taking this plant for almost a year now, and I haven't really recorded any form of side effects, but for the fact that the plant will actually do some discoloration on his teeth, and which will wash that off using charcoal, and that will go back to normal. And none of the other parents have told me about any side effects that they too have observed, but you have to do your research. Do your research to find out if this plant is safe for your child. Check with your health provider to be sure before you can go ahead to administer this plant to your child. So how did I get to use CLOVE on my autistic son? And then how does his autism actually present itself? So by the time he was diagnosed with autism at age 3, we had lived through his symptoms from birth. Well, we immediately noticed that he was quite different. He came out and shortly afterwards started crying profusely for hours on end, really inconsolably, and kept crying for months and months and months inconsolably. We noticed he would wake up at night from in between 3 to 7 times every single night. And nonetheless, he kept growing normally, attaining his milestones, started walking by 10 months, started talking, saying mama, papa, naming objects. But we noticed he was kind of aggressive. He became excessively hyperactive, where he would rarely sit down for 5 to 10 minutes. He was very full of energy. He would love watching TV, loved music so much. And then we would notice that he started selecting meals, started preferring one single meal every single time. We noticed that he stopped chewing his meal. So by the time he was diagnosed by age 3, he had lost almost every single word he had learned. He became almost non-verbal. We noticed he started closing his ears with the palm of his hands. We noticed he started walking on his toes. He didn't respond to his name anymore. He noticed he would respond to equation by equation. He had a lot of echolalia. So now, how did I get to start using CLOVE on my son? So by age 3, when we observed that he had all the symptoms, we decided first of all to consult an ear, nose and throat specialist, because we had concerns whether he was able to hear his name, he was able to hear the instructions we were giving him. And so after the consultation, the result came out saying that he was able to hear very well. And then we were directed to a neuropediatrician, where of course the diagnosis of autism was given after several routine checks. And so we followed up with all the therapies that were prescribed. We started off with psychotherapy, we started off with speech therapy, and some other side therapies that we were doing. And then for over a year we're following up all these therapies, and then I got to attend a lot of conferences on autism, a lot of talks on autism, and I can remember from one of the conferences someone really emphasizing on heavy metals being possible causative factor of autism. And then I belong to a forum for mothers with autistic children, and so I remember a mother sharing an article which pointed out to the plant clove, saying how it could help to detoxify the system. So I started off doing a lot of research on the plant clove, trying to find out how safe it would be for my son. And after a couple of research, I decided to give a try. Seeing how safe it was as a plant, I decided to give a try with this plant. So I would just simply steep the plant in water for several hours, and then from there I would give it to my son and I would observe his reaction. And I kept observing him for several days, and about a week after, I noticed that he started sleeping better. He would siest for quite some time, and he would still sleep all through the night, something that wasn't very common with him. And then I was very keen about this observation, very surprised actually. I can remember really being so surprised, and so I decided to read more and find out more about this. And so I kept reading more, and I kept giving him the plant, continued the whole procedure. And then I discovered that the more I extract the plant, the better the effect I saw. So I decided that okay, I will just do the extraction all through the night, and in the morning I'll give him first thing in the morning. So I started giving him first thing in the morning, and then I'll give him a few hours before bedtime. And so I observed that he kept sleeping better for a month, for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. It all continued that way, and until about say 4 or 5 months that we noticed that his speech really started improving. He started talking, not to 100%. He started just saying, this is a bag, this is a spoon, this is a chair, this is a pot, this is a knife. And so that's how he started talking, describing everything he sees. And then the speech kept improving from just describing what he sees to started making very little sentences, very short sentences. And then from there, we kept observing him, and then we observed that his eyeball changed. It changed from this very lost look to having an oriented look. His eyeballs were initially really just disorientated, but I noticed they started having some sense of orientation, started having some his facial expressions started having some sense of, I understand a little bit where I am and what I'm supposed to do. And so we kept giving him the plant, and then we kept observing him a lot. And when we discovered that he started improving, his symptoms that he had, he stopped walking on his toes, he stopped covering his ears with the palm of his hands. So today my son is a lot better. His comprehension has improved greatly. His speech has really improved, and it is my honest belief that the plant clove has had something to do with his improvement. He still goes for his speech therapy. He still has assistance, of course, but I think that the plant itself has also got a place in these improvements. Okay, so now how do we prepare the clove extract? So we use whole buds of clove. We don't use the ground buds, neither do we use clove oil. We use clove buds, as you can see here. We use whole grains like this. Yeah, so we simply take a tablespoon full of clove, and then we put into a glassware like this, and then we put about half a cup of water, and then we cover it and we leave it to steep in there all through the night. We leave it to steep in there all through the night, and in the morning this is how it's going to look like, as you can see. And so in the morning we simply take a strainer and then we strain out the water, and this is how it's going to look like. So this is what we give the autistic child to drink first thing in the morning and then a few hours before bedtime. So after straining the first water, there is still some nutrients found in the clove bud, so we simply just put in more water and we leave it there again. In the evening time, we strain out the water and we give it to the child, and then we put more water, and in the morning again we do the same straining out of water, and then we give it to the child. So we do this till about the 4th day, where we throw away this clove and then we do a new one entirely, like just what we did there. So it is equally important to note that for reasons which I cannot explain now, this plant has shown no obvious improvement in the sleep patterns of autistic children more than 5-year-old. So definitely with time, research will be able to explain this particular tendency. So it is my understanding that symptoms in autism can improve with extremely healthy nutrition, and plants or herbs like clove offer a wide variety of vitamins, antioxidants, minerals that can really go and boost the functioning of the brain. So it is my honest belief that this plant has improved the health of my son, and it is my wish that it will also be of help for you. Now, so do your research to be sure that this plant is safe for your child, and if you eventually administer this plant to your child, please share with us your experience at the comment section below, and we would love to learn from your experience. So, of course, no two autistic children are the same, so we would love to hear how your child reacted to this plant. If it has been of help for you, it will be wonderful to learn from your experience. So thank you so much. Hope you found this video helpful. I love you. Bye.